Hey everybody, Manny Talavera here, and I want to welcome you all back to day 9 of the 17-day course creation challenge with Manny, Stacy, and Emily. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about product launches and give you some insights as to what it looks like on the back end when you see people making offers. And so there are a number of ways that you can do this. So you could create a modulated course and you could launch that directly through email. You could launch it by going on your personal page and basically making a video offer VSL there. You could do it through your private Facebook group. But a lot of people, like I said, now what they're doing is they're doing 1 day workshops, 2 day workshops, or 5 day challenges. They're doing those free or paid or free with VIP. And then what they're doing in that event, they're making a higher end offer to invite people to a higher end program or a coaching program. And so what you want to think about, first of all, if you're planning on doing this, everything needs to be pre-architected and pre-built, which means your offer needs to be built before you do the workshop or 5 day challenge. Your landing page, your offer page, you need to be very well thought out as to how you're going to take payment and what all of that looks like. And we're going to give you some insights there. But like I said, we don't just get into a program and then make an offer. We actually have to have all of that built out and thought out. We know exactly what's going to go happen there. Now I can tell you, 5 day challenges. Some people make the offer on day 4. Some people make the offer on day 1. I can tell you, Suzanne Evans, she a lot of times makes a very high-end offer on day 1 of her challenges, and we're talking about 15, 20, $25,000 offers. And then what she does, she makes that offer and then she continues to make that offer for the next 4 days. And so, you know, that's what it's going to look like. And so what it might look like, we're going to have a 5 day challenge. We're going to have a free version, then a VIP version. I can tell you that most of the people who will sign up for your higher end courses and programs will be in the VIP space. That, like, a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. People who are willing to invest in themselves at a low rate will invest in themselves at a high rate. And that's what you want to think about. And so you might do a 5 day challenge. If you don't hit sales goals in that 5 day challenge, you might do a bonus day. So we're gonna do the 5 day challenge. We're gonna make our offer, and then we might do a bonus day with live question and answer questions about the modulated course or the coaching offer that you're going to make to these people. Now, early on, we were talking about payment methods, and I told you all PayPal and Stripe. Stay away from these third world systems for taking payment. But what I do want to talk to you now about being a little bit more sophisticated, and we are certainly going to use PayPal and Stripe to sell our lower end programs. Anything up to around 3 or 4 thousand, we're probably going to deal with PayPal and Stripe, and we're going to deal with the aggravation of chargebacks and things like that. But when you get into selling 5,000, 7,500, 10,000, and upward of that, you're generally not going to be using PayPal or Stripe as a delivery mechanism for that money. And the reason for that is because you don't want to sell a 1 year coaching program for 5 or 10 or 20,000 and then have them 3 or 4 months later ask for the money back and do a chargeback on you. And so what this looks like, a lot of times when people are selling at the higher end, they're basically making an offer and having people apply. So they will have people apply for the offer and they will have people make a deposit. And that deposit can be made through PayPal and Stripe. So they might say you need to make a $500 family and friends payment through PayPal, and then they apply for the program, and then if you're going to let them in the program, then what you do is you give them the instructions on how to make that secondary payment. And a lot of times that secondary payment is going to be made through bank wire. So they're going to be making a payment through bank wire to get that secondary payment. And like I said, you might find other more sophisticated ways they're doing it as well. And then what you also want to think about is, are you going to do payment plans? Now, you can't really do payment plans and have them do bank wires each month. That won't work. Unfortunately, if you're doing payment plans, they are probably going to ultimately be making that payment through Stripe or PayPal. If they do, and either way, what you do is you do need to have them do an electronic signature that says they're agreeing to sign up for this coaching and they're agreeing to pay for this. Um, it's probably not going to help you with Stripe or PayPal. If people reverse the payment or do a chargeback, you're probably going to still lose the money. But once in a while, it might help you. And so you definitely want that. As a matter of fact, no matter how they're doing it, what you're going to do is you're going to have them sign an agreement, do an electronic signature, and state that they understand that they are agreeing to make payments for a period of time. And like I said, my advice to you here always, and it depends on what your goals are for the offer. Um, Try and get full payment from everyone you can get full payment from, then do two pay, and then do maybe three pay, and then after that you can do the monthly continuity. Now the thing is, some of you all are going to be creating coaching programs that are going to be continuity programs. And what it is, it's a way for you to build a monthly revenue stream for yourself. So you sell a $10,000 coaching program, you put 50 people in it. So it's 500,000 for the year, and they can pay all the 10,000 at once, or they can pay $1,000 a month for 12 months. And a lot of people build these continuity programs in a coaching business, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I would ever advise though is don't have them paying you after you've delivered all the service. So if you're doing a 6-month coaching program, don't let them be paying for 12 months. Or if you're doing a 3-month program, don't let them be paying for 6 months. And another thing that you can do there, you can also get a good sized down payment. So you might do continuity, but you might get a $2,500 down payment. So what it might look like is, you're doing a $10,000 program. They pay $2,500 down, and then they pay the other $7,500 at $750 a month, which means they're paying a little bit more because they're stretching it out. But that's what it would look like. But like I said, what you do want to think about is when people are doing these very high-end programs and they're getting all of the money up front, they are not doing PayPal or Stripe. And the reason they're not doing the PayPal and Stripe is because you want to limit chargebacks, and chargebacks are just an issue in this space. And I just wanted to walk you through this. And so again, we're going to walk you through it again. If you're wanting to make a higher end offer, a lot of times people are making those high end offers after doing through a workshop or a master class, master class or a 5-day challenge. And so you'll do a free or paid event. And then what you will do is make that offer. And when you make that offer, you're going to present them with a landing page. And depending on the size of the offer, if it's 5,000 or more, in some cases you might have them fill out a questionnaire. In other cases, you might just have them make a deposit that's refundable if you're not going to let them in. And then what you do is you make arrangements. You have them call in, or you do the rest of this thing through phone calls and through personal assistants and VAs and things. And so what it looks like is they're going to pay 500 now, and then we're going to get them on a call. We're going to have them e-sign. They're going to sign the contract, the agreement, and then they're going to make a one-time payment, large payment through Bankwire or something like that. And so I just want you to understand what it looks like. And what we're talking about is something that's a little bit more sophisticated when you're making these higher offers. But like I said, what you don't want to do, if at all possible, you don't want to have someone sending you five or 10 or 20 or $30,000 through Stripe or PayPal, because first of all, at any given time, PayPal can decide they want to hold the funds. But the bigger issue here is you can deliver a lot of value to someone over 60 or 90 days, and then they can come back and just say they didn't authorize the payment. They can say their card was stolen. There are a lot of things that can happen there. And so, like I said, to avoid all of those big problems, what you want to do is you essentially want to get that those big payments through bank wire or some other source there. And so when you're doing smaller payments, like I said, when you're doing your not 27, 47, 97, 297, 497, 997. You're going to use PayPal and Stripe for about all of that. And it's going to work fine. You're going to have people who will charge back. You're going to have problems. But like I said, when you scale one of these, the big problems you have are people who can't get into the account, they can't get into their account, they can't get the information, and so you end up running into problems with tickets and chargebacks. But like I said, but what you're going to find when you deal with higher level individuals who are buying higher end programs, you make the same amount of money working with way fewer people, and you don't have all that issue because they're more sophisticated. But like I said, the thing that you do want to do though is think about how you're going to take those payments. So we're going to give you a dare for dare not day 9. And what I want you to do is I want you to tell us, what is your biggest dream in creating a thought leader or coaching business? What is your biggest dream with this? Do you want to make a few $1,000,000? Do you want to get a couple of those records from Russell Brunson? Do you want to have a very large event where thousands of people show up? So, or is there something else that you're striving to achieve? But make a video, put at Dare 9 and at the 17-day course creation challenge with Manny, Stacy, and Emily. You can drop that in the collaboration group. You can drop it in the coaches, consultants, and course creators group. You can drop it in our group here. But like I said, very simple video. Just create a video and say, my biggest dream, or the biggest dream I have for becoming a thought leader or course creator is to X, and kind of tell us what that is. But we appreciate you being here. We will see you all on day 10, and thanks a lot.